Yes, sir.
You speaking,
Yes.
Joel? You're right, bro.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. We got so much to talk about. We got so much to talk about. It's got so much to talk about. I think this whole business journey is it's fun, it's challenging, it's difficult, it's exhilarating. Yeah. Should I start by asking you a question?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go. Yeah, hit me. Yeah.
So why did you need to postpone the recording of this podcast from yesterday until today? What was going on in your business where you had to say, "Okay, Lee, listen, man, I'm just crammed today. I need to move this. Need to move this till tomorrow," which was fine by me, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. Um, really. All right. Honest. I don't even. It's. I don't. It'll be interesting because if the person watches this actual video, they'll be probably not too happy about the conversation. But I'll say how it is. All right. So I had a member of staff basically had a meltdown on the site. Um. So yeah. So is a that's a first for me, actually, because yes, when I've had staff obviously get quite emotional and whatnot, but they normally do it directly to me, or it's outside of. It's never really been in front of a customer. It's
Right.
never really been like that.
Yes.
But this one was, yeah, it was actually in front of a customer. Customers, because obviously they were on site
Yeah.
and had a bit of a breakdown. So I had obviously that's when I got the call. Now the person was obviously dealing with a lot of things outside. And I think that's the main thing which you have to factor in when you're employing people, you're employing their personal life as well. Even though it's very difficult, but it's hard to separate the two. You're working for a reason. You work, provide for your family
Yeah. Yeah.
or whatever your circumstances is. Yeah. But generally, the people are generally people are either providing for themselves or providing for their family.
Right.
And it's very, very difficult to, separate the two. Some people find it very separate the two of not talking or not bringing home life to work
That's
because you're in work more than you're at home. If you talk about the lifespan of your day.
that's right.
So,
And
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 then,
and to most people as well, I would imagine that their home life is their real life, whereas work life is just something that they're really doing to supplement their real life, right? So when they're at work, I'm pretty certain most people are thinking about, you know, my elderly parents,
yeah,
kids,
yeah,
where are we going for holiday? How's the bills going to get paid? I think that's what's really occupying people's minds. It must be hard for people not to take home life into work. Did your
yeah,
well
100%.
first from a point of care? Did your employee are they okay?
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, he's fine. He just had a moment. Yes, he had obviously a few personal things happening at home or in his personal life, and sometimes just gets on top of them, and then that's it. It wasn't, thankfully, it wasn't like a breakdown where he flipped out. It was a breakdown where he actually broke down in front of them,
all got
and
too
he
much. Yeah,
and so that I say thankfully, but because you could kind of, as a business owner, as me, sending people on site or me managing people and saying to, because obviously you're sending people to your customers saying they're a representation of you and they know what they're doing and they're good.
correct, correct.
So obviously when that happens, um, first point of my first reaction was okay, I know which was negative, but okay, what did he do?
Right, right.
I was like, okay. So when I heard it briefly, because I got a call, it came through another member of staff in the office. They called me up, and she wasn't unable to explain to me exactly what happened. Couldn't really get the person on the phone because he wasn't answering it.
Mm.
It was a customer called the office, and then they called me. So I was like, I'll just go down there
And
and take it.
what's your main thought at that point? Is your main thought reputational mitigation, or is your primary thought is this guy okay personally, or is as an individual? Which way do you go in that from an employee's point of view?
And I think you know what, it's different for each.
Yeah,
So with this specific person, he's been with me for quite a while.
yeah,
So my concern was for him.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah. Makes perfect sense. Yeah,
Even though I was still thinking about you know, what he may have done if there was if there was an overreaction. I
Right.
don't know. Yeah, they could have, started to unprofessionally flip out. You just don't know.
Right.
But my concern was actually for him because he's been with me for about 4 to 5 years now.
That's good.
So that, and because I know him, I trust him as well, because it takes time to build that trust between that employee and employer.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you have to find that person to see if they hold the business in high regards. Do they value the business? Do they feel a part of the business? Do they take ownership? And it's really, really hard to find people like that,
Right.
because sometimes, employers will look at you as, well, you're the boss of your company, blah
Yeah.
blah, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not realizing, as even for me as a small business owner, um, it's yes, it's something I started, but you guys are so much, uh, big part of this journey. It
Yes.
wouldn't be where it is without you.
Right. Right.
Does that make sense? It
Yeah, it
wouldn't
makes
be
perfect sense.
so that's so sometimes they kind of forget that. I think sometimes with people who work for companies, especially if they work for small business owners, I think, there's more opportunities for people who work for small business owners than there is when it's the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
Because
Very interesting.
if you're able to help the founder grow within that short space of time, the benefits and rewards for you will be massive,
Bro,
and that's because the founder will look at you as a part of that journey, a part of that part of the business.
brother, let me tell you
So
that is so poignant what you're just saying. I mean, as somebody who's further ahead in the journey than I am in terms of the size of your company, the number of staff you're employing, I got just questions for you, man. I got questions. I know where things are going in my head. I know what I've done to get to my point in my journey, but I've got loads of questions for you. I'm sure they'll come out
yeah,
over the
yeah, but
course of
but
this.
your journey is wicked as well. But it's coming from a different angle at the same time,
Yeah, yeah,
So, but anyway, cut a long story short, he was cool. He just had a moment which he needed to kind of have a breather, recover. I gave him this week off, sort himself out. And then obviously, hopefully, fingers crossed, he'll be all right when he comes back next Monday. But yeah, so I think you have to, and but hiring people or managing people is one of the biggest challenges, and you have to, as a business owner, or someone who does that, has to enjoy improving people,
Mm,
seeing them
mm,
seeing
mm.
them grow, seeing them accomplish things. You have to enjoy that.
Enjoy
Um,
improving people. I like how you said that. You need to enjoy improving people.
yeah, because that's the only way you're going to scale, and that's the only way you're going to actually deal with the trials and tribulations, because it's going to be, I guarantee you, the more people you hire, the more problems will be presented to you, because just the probability of how things work. um and that's, so I think, especially when you're hiring people, there has to be an element of, you do enjoy them growing within your company and helping people grow within themselves. Growth is great, and you feel a part of that. And you can see they they honor that as well. And then, especially when you like, give them bonuses because of their hard work, or you know you raise their salary, give them opportunities, because that's
Yeah.
what I want to do. I want. And how do you grow from A to B? Well, for one, you have to trust the people you hire to a certain point
Yeah.
to enable them to do the job that you want them to do. And also, you have to give them opportunities to grow. So your role as a founder is to make sure that you're growing the business, to give them the opportunity to say, okay, cool, I've done all this work. Where am I going under you?
Where am I
I'll
going?
be like, well, this is where you're going under me. You've actually jumped your pay salary from, I don't know, 35 to 45
Yeah. Okay.
within a short space of time.
Yeah. 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 I got you. I got it.
Now you've got people underneath you to manage. So the challenges are different. You're not doing the same thing for the last 10 years. So these things, so your role as a founder is like that. Your mindset is like, okay, how am I stimulating my staff? How am I creating a setup where they feel they're growing within your organization?
Yes. I got you. I got you.
So that's the kind of the mindset you have to go on. But yeah, so with him, it was trust. And I knew, once I spoke to him, I knew it was full. I knew it was fine. Sorry. And
And in that situation, how was the client that you did? How did they respond to your staff member kind of having a bit of a moment on site?
Yeah, they're okay. You'll
Okay.
be surprised. You know, the funny thing is like you'll be surprised that how sympathetic people are.
Correct. Really
You
well.
know, it
Really, really
really,
well said. Yes.
yeah, because I think for me, I used to get so worried about like my customers or the customers you know, in general, like how they feel,
Yes.
you know, are they going to be annoyed about
Yeah.
specific services and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Or I don't know, just say, oh, I've had to call someone and say, look, look, I can't provide the provision today because I just can't. You
Yes.
know, I can't get that staff member in there because I'm just stuck and I've had three people call off sick and blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
then you call the customer and you're dreading the worst. You're thinking the worst. And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. It's
Don't
fine.
worry. Yeah, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
It
okay. Yeah,
but
yeah.
by that time,
Yeah.
by that time, you probably would have built up a little bit of a you credit with them, so they know that your staff. It's not like you're just doing this right at the start of the journey.
Yes.
These things come along after you've built up some you've got some credit in the bank with them. I would imagine.
Yes, that's true. So you build up a relationship with them, you build a rapport. So that's, yeah. So you've provided them with a foundation to say, look, you're good in what you say, and follow it through. Whatever you say to a customer
Yes.
or any partnerships you have with other
Yes.
businesses,
Yes. Yes.
follow it through.
Yes. Do you know, I
Yeah.
said the same thing to somebody that I'm kind of mentoring at the moment. Fantastic guy, young guy who's got a gardening business, and he's just going through the normal growing pains of being ambitious, of starting a business, things not quite working out. You know what it's like right at the very, very beginning of anything, Joel. I think the challenge for people who are really starting out at the business, especially if they're ambitious, is that they overpromise. And then the
Yes.
overpromising leads to an under delivery of the promise. It's not because they're bad people, they've got actually genuine hearts, they're really, really solid individuals, but they're just ambitious, overpromise, and then it just, oftentimes can let the customer down when that
Yeah.
promise isn't met, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And but you want to do that. You feel that you're obliged to do that because you're entering in the market and you don't have anything else to offer apart from your word. So 9 out of 10 times you try and overcompensate. And if you can't deliver, you know, unfortunately that has a negative effect. So you're spot on. You shouldn't, I wouldn't necessarily overpromise when you're starting off. Um, just be consistent. Let's do the boring things well. Be
Yeah.
consistent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and that's really kind of like how I've learned over the years of still being, still be able to trade at the moment is do the boring things well, keep being consistent.
I like that phrase, do the boring things well. Why don't you just tell us a little bit then about who you are, your journey, what your business is? We haven't even covered any of that so far. We've gone straight into, hey, listen,
Trade.
and yeah, we went straight into the conversation. And just,
That,
by way of the first question I asked you about moving this tool from one day to the other, it's completely normal and expected that this is a nice to have. This is a kind of what it was, superfluous really. This is not
yeah.
part of the normal function of business. So when business comes in, then you got to prioritize. And I think that was
Yeah.
it was a very clear priority, wasn't it? Clear choice.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, basically, I run an MSP as an IT company. Just going to briefly go
What
through.
does MSP mean?
Uh, Great question. I forgot. I'm going to Google it. What does MSP? Something managed service provider, managed
Yeah.
service, something like that.
Yep.
MSP. What does MSP mean?
I think that's right.
I think that's managed service provider. I think that was for yeah, managed service provider.
Hmm.
So MSP. Um, And it's funny because I use it a lot, MSP, because I saw other IT owners use it. I'm an MSP, I'm an MSP. I was like, okay, if somebody said an IT provider,
Yeah.
I'll say I'm an MSP.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I'm an MSP, started up as a contractor, and I- in a nutshell, I was contracting in schools um, through another agency, and then basically done pretty good work.
Hmm.
They wanted to stick with me and not necessarily go with the agent who um, got
Who
me in there in the
hired you?
first place. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And that, you know what? That's business.
Correct.
I'll be honest with you. It's
Correct.
dog eat dog.
Wow.
and you'll be taking customers from someone else.
That's
I've
mad.
had customers taken from me.
That's
So
crazy.
it's the way it's really a doggy dog. Get used to it. Yeah. It's not personal. It will feel personal.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, it will feel personal. The first couple of
Mm-hmm.
ones will feel personal. But it's not personal. It really isn't. It's on reflection. I reflect when I lose.
Mm.
Yeah. I reflect when I lose. If I've lost a customer, you reflect. Okay, why?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Correct. Correct.
But anyway, started that way. One or two schools jumped on board, said, "Look, Joe, I want you to manage us. We don't want the company that you're working for or subbing for to manage us. We want you, want your expertise, what
Mm-hmm.
your yeah."
Mm-hmm.
Why is that happening? Because I build a rapport with them, relationships. I build a rapport.
Mm. Mm.
The mistake the company made, which I was working for, they didn't basically, for one, they didn't employ me.
Okay.
Um, so sometimes when they sign an SLA, you can put terms and conditions about nicking members of your staff. So I wasn't employed, I was a subby. So I'm not obliged to their contractual obligations, and nor are they because I'm not employed
Right.
by them.
Right. Right.
So it
Very
was
interesting.
literally, yeah, so it
Very
was
interesting.
quite straightforward thing. Um, and then yeah, that's pretty much how I started with the education, 3 schools, and then I kind of grew it to 30 schools now.
In 30 schools, bro.
Yeah, 30 schools at the moment. There was that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, 30 schools at the moment. So yeah, but there, you know what? Funny enough, there is you. It sounds like it sounds a lot, and I'm not trying to downplay it. It is to a certain extent, but there is other MSPs which want a lot more than me and
And
a higher turnover as well. So
have you got a target to go to 60 schools, 90 schools? Are you trying to multiply what you've got, or are you at quite a comfortable stage in your business right now?
no, I'm just trying to honest, make money, make profit.
Mm,
So sometimes you could scale. Let's say, all right, okay, I've got a revenue of I don't know 700,000, but my profit margins are what 70K
okay. Yeah.
net.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, how do you make profit? How do you make more money? Yes, you could bring in more customers. That's 100% the way. But if your margins are not,
Skewed or they're off. Yeah.
yeah,
It's still,
it
yeah.
you're doing far more work than the rewards.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily focused so much on customer base because yes, customers are. I'm at this stage where I'm trying to balance out where I focus more on profit. I want to make more profit. I want my profit margins to be more. So because I've been on a growth trajectory and my profit margins have never really been that. They've been okay, but I want them to be better.
Okay. All right.
Um,
All right.
but
So you're going to do that within the current. So within the current 30 schools, what you're going to be doing is that you're going to be looking at your lines on your business plan. You're going to be seeing where you can cut costs, where you can improve efficiencies within the 30 schools that you have right now.
there you go, spot on. Because sometimes mm, you think you can't maximize more revenue from the one customer you have.
Right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you need to think. So you really need to start thinking. Okay, cool. How much more services can I offer
The same
my
customer.
existing
Yeah.
clientele?
Yes. Exactly.
Because you're not ripping them off. You're providing them a service because you're basically saying, look, I could do more for you,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it'll work out cheaper because you come into like it's one stop instead of you going to different organizations. You can come to one stop shop. I
Yes.
can get the a discounted rate because you're coming to me directly.
Absolutely. That's so good.
So
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 good.
it's kind of like that mindset. So sometimes you have to kind of like, okay, what more can I offer within the clientele I got now to maximize the revenue to hopefully improve our profit margin.
I think this is
Um,
really going to, I genuinely think this is really going to help small business owners to consider ways to increase their profitability, because I think the default way that we fall into without really thinking about it too much is let's get a new customer. Let's get a new customer. We need more customers. Or if not, let's get more customers. Let's increase prices. Those are the two ways I think that most business owners are striving to increase profitability: is more customers with the same level of efficiency or greater efficiency, and then increasing prices. But what you're saying is, at this stage, you're saying, I don't even need more customers. There's enough juice within my existing customer base to either add some profits or build some efficiency to squeeze more profitability out of the same orange. It's very good.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
really
and
very
don't
good.
get me wrong, I won't say no to customers,
Of
but
course, of
I
course.
think you have to think to yourself, can you make your business run more effectively, more efficient? And that's because when you scale, um, you then need to reevaluate your procedures, your strategy, um, tighten up ship, and to hopefully be more efficient so the customer feels the benefit, but you want them to feel the benefit of the service. I'm always subconsciously aware that, okay, cool, you've been with, let's say you've been with me for 7 years or 10 years.
Yes,
Why would you stick with me for another 5 years? So I have to prove to you that I'm constantly in trend. I understand what I'm doing. I understand what you need. I'm
yes.
trying to improve myself to make sure I'm competitive with everyone else. So
Mm,
it's you you have to think to, and that's the mindset. Okay, you want to keep your existing customers. Why should they stay with you? Well,
yes,
I'm going to make sure I'm up with the trend and
yes.
keep up with everything I need to do to make sure and improve my services, offer you more, and then obviously still try and bring in customers
So
to the business.
while I'm talking to you,
Yeah.
I'm writing down all the questions that are coming to my head because it's like it's not that I don't have answers for them myself, but I'm interested to know what your answers are in your business, right? So
Okay.
we all right. Have you told us enough about your business so that people watching know what it is that you tell us a
Okay.
little bit
So
more? Yeah.
all right. So IT support for education, and I also do that for small businesses as well. I've been doing this since uh, from 2012, but really kicked in, really started to take it more seriously in 2016.
Right.
Have I had businesses before? Yes, I've tried different things before. They haven't failed. They were just a learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's funny because I went into IT because I didn't think I was a business person.
Okay.
It
Okay.
was it wasn't a thing. It's ironic because it wasn't a thing in my head that I said, "Oh, I want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
to be a business owner."
I get
That
you.
wasn't it. What I did know, at some point in my life, I didn't want to work for anyone.
Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing?
So that was it. So the only option is basically working for yourself. But I didn't think of actually having a business and growing. But I always thought I wanted something for myself. It could have just been me by myself, which it was being by myself for a long period of time. But I didn't have that concept of like, oh, I I didn't envision this where I am at the moment. Um, and even though I look upon myself at the moment as I'm not really even there yet, but someone from a different point of view will think look how far you've come. But at each stage of your development, you're going to be thinking, I want that, I want that, and that's growth and that's good. So when I so with this whole IT thing, I was always interested in IT, but I didn't necessarily say I want to be a business owner, an IT owner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I just done IT because I liked IT,
But
and it
but you
was
never wanted to work for anybody else, right? You did IT, you liked IT. You never really had the idea of saying, oh, I'm going to be a business owner. But there was something, the catalyst for that was that you didn't want to work for anybody else.
that's correct. Yeah, so I think it's very good for you to be employed, and it's very good for you to work for someone. I think it's very important you do that because then therefore for one, you'll understand if this is something you want to continue to do, and also you'll understand the employee's mindset because you need to understand the employee's mindset because when you become an employer, then you understand why they think the way they think.
So important. So important
Yeah,
to sit underneath a boss at some point or another. I think it's important. I was saying the same thing to my son Jude, who's my business partner, that it's really important at some point or another to take instructions to
100%.
yeah,
Yeah,
you can be the boss and you will be the boss, but you got to be able to take instructions. So you're how many years old in your business right now?
I am. I would say 15 years
In this particular company?
in this specific company. That's correct.
That's
Yes.
great, Joel. You've made it.
Yeah.
You've made
Nah,
it.
hell no. Mate, look, what I can say is consistency,
Yeah.
but that's just anything else and compounding.
Yeah.
So anything you want to do, if you want to do something, you have to be consistent and compound and you'll reap the rewards.
Yeah.
Now, am I reaping the rewards at the moment? Business, if you go into business thinking you're going to make some serious money, it's not going to happen. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
Now, what you have to think of having a business as a journey. It's
Do you know what's funny? You know what's so funny, Joe? Is you know what's so funny
yeah,
is that we have both taken this journey, yeah. And I want you to keep your train of thought, right? I want you to keep
yeah,
your train of thought. But I also, as we, yeah, when we do this all the time, we just
yeah,
chat
yeah,
and rap, and the conversation kind of
yeah,
flows in different directions. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, you let me just pause you for 1 second because you spoke about not wanting to work for somebody else, but you also said you can't think about business as if you just want to make loads of money. But everybody wants to make loads of money and no one wants to work for anyone else. So why do we take the pain of leaving the comfort of employment, leaving the comfort of a regular income, leaving the stress of HMRC, business plans, employees' national insurance, employee breakdowns? Why do we leave the comfort of a salary to do something like this just because we don't want to be told what to do, bro? Because we don't want to work for anyone else.
Not that.
Go on.
You think it's that, but
Well,
it's
you
not
said
that.
it was that. You said that that's
No,
what
no,
started you off.
no. No, that started me understanding I didn't want to be an employee anymore. Yeah. But what makes people jump into business or entrepreneurship is having something of their own,
Ownership.
ownership.
Okay, so
That that's the key. If you're so I've just said to you, you're going to business thinking you're going to make some vast amounts of money. And it's true. How many businesses, fail after like I can't
most,
remember the
most.
statistics. Yeah, I can't. Most business fail, hands down. So you got, but why do people persist? Is that ownership? It's mine. It's something I did. It's something I built. It's that self validation that I know I could do something.
But bro, people could do that with a hobby. People can do that with hobbies, bro. People can take a car,
Different.
a broken down car on a
Yeah.
shed and make it and say, look, I did this. Take a year to refurbish a vintage car and say, I did this. What I'm
Mm.
trying to understand is the connection
Yeah.
between the desire for money,
Yeah.
right? The desire not to work for somebody else. And the third thing which you added, and which I think is actually really, really true, ownership is huge. It's actually a really good big. There must be a triangle there. All of those three things are connected.
No, and they are connected. And when you start your journey, that's the connection. When you go through your journey, you realize, okay, cool. It's not really a validation because at the end of the day, you can start a business and it flops
That's right.
because, and that's the thing. You have the best intentions, and these are the things because they seem desirable because you don't really want to answer to anyone, and you think, and you see you see the end product sometimes when people show you on social media of
Yeah.
like, this is the lifestyle, the possibility that you can have, not realizing the trials and tribulations of that journey of what that person got there to
Correct.
get there in the first
Absolutely
place.
right. Absolutely right.
So that's my thing where I say to you regarding the people who continue the journey, it's the more that there's that ownership of I just want something that is mine, that I've grown, that
Mm.
validate. It's that something there. It's like that. It's made you when we come to your journey. It's made you more or less. And this is why I've jumped ship from being an employee into employer because I've always had that. There's something that it's always been there. It's like a thing in the back of my head. I want it's some an itch I need to scratch, and it's the same concept. So I from a from an early age, I actually knew that it's a thing. I do think it's a thing. I do. I never used to think of it before, but especially when my brother spoke to me about especially some of the things I used to do when I was younger, there was always some form of ownership I was trying to thrive
That's
for.
interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was ownership for me. I think that's part of it. I think for me, it was knowing that I had reached a ceiling in corporate life, and that ceiling was not going to get cracked. I had to make a decision. Either I'm going to stay here and take this money, and that's it. And effectively, I mean, I don't want to use the word slave, but effectively, that's what it was going to be. I'm going to be a paid worker, and this is as much as I'm going to get. I'm not going to go any higher than this. This is my level of power or my level of responsibility, and that's it. Or I go and I do something on my own. and exceed that in the long run. And I think for me, that was the ultimate vision. And I came from, well, from good money. I
Yeah,
left
yeah,
good money to
yeah,
do this, bro. I left good
yeah,
money to do this. And I think it's taken a long time to get back to the stage where the possibility of seeing that good money again is actually become it's become real. It's a long journey. And I do ask myself whether I should have just taken the money. I do still ask myself that sometimes. I know the answer is no, but every now and again I do say, well, should I have just taken the money?
well,
Should I have
why
just
do
stayed
you? Why haven't you?
there? It is for me, it's a question of freedom. That
Okay.
was the thing for me. So
Freedom.
ownership was a big one. It was a question of freedom, and that ties back to the idea of not wanting to have a boss. I don't want to have to be at a certain place at a certain time for a certain duration. I mean, I did it for years. And the older I got, I was like, this is crazy. This is
Yeah,
crazy. And so much so that along the journey of being an entrepreneur, with the ups and downs, the highs and the lows, I had to
yeah,
go back into the city and get some work because that was
yeah,
just what the journey demanded, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Journey demanded that.
yeah.
And again, being in the position, having had the freedom,
Okay, so how did that feel?
this is what so having had the freedom, having been able to, wake up when I want, work as late as I want, meet over here, meet over there, work online, work in a coffee shop, having had the freedom to build my life as I wanted to, going back into the city, being at the desk for a certain time, for a certain duration, man, bro,
Resting?
let me tell you a quick story. In this hiatus, I went back into the city. I started connecting with people that I was connected with back in my old days. And my job was very free and flexible. I must admit, the job I had, got quite senior, and I got to quite a good level. So I could do what I want. If I need to take an extra half an hour for lunch, I'll just call. I'm going to be late back. I'm here. I'm doing whatever I want, right? Basically to build. But I was working. So when I went back into the city, I thought it was the same vibes. I took an extra half an hour for lunch because I was networking, I was building the business, I was reconnecting with relationships. And the stink that kicked off in the office when I got back, the stink, that's when I knew this ain't going to work. This is not going
Yeah,
to
yeah,
work. 6 months, bro. I was there for 6 months, six
yeah.
months, and
Mm.
then had to get back out. Couldn't take it.
But
Freedom.
also as well, I think what I want to for the audience as well, there's nothing wrong with being employed.
Okay.
I do generally think there's for the likes of myself and you, I think when you a business owner has to be slightly mad because the challenges you have to deal with, the stresses you have to consistently manage, continue to try and achieve something is off another scale.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's not for everyone.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
but
So,
your journey is interesting because I like the fact that you went back, gave it a go, and it gave you confirmation how you felt. Because that's pretty much what it really did. It just gave you confirmation. And because because you went back, and honestly, you went back for the money because of the inconsistency of when you started to do the business. That you thought, I need the money, I've got a family to support and whatnot.
correct. Correct.
You only lasted a certain amount. So what that shows to me, for me personally, when you just said that, is that when you made that decision of leaving that position a second time round, you were all in.
Brother.
You're all in.
Sorry. That was my little South London thing there. Let me
You're
tell you,
all in.
bro, when I walked out that building for the last time, I said, this is it.
Mm.
It was like
Yeah,
the bridges were burnt.
yeah,
I can still call
yeah,
people in the city. I've still got friends, of course, right? But in terms of me going to be a city worker, working in the banks or the hedge funds or, the brokers, whatever it might be, that's not, it can't happen. It can never,
yeah,
it can't
yeah,
happen anymore. So
yeah.
this business had to work.
There you go. And that's it. And that's the key when even well, I'm going on a tangent here, when I'm actually doing acquisitions or I'm looking for business, trying to invest in businesses.
Yeah.
It's the founder I'm looking, the business owner I'm looking at.
Yes.
It's like, you know, I'm invested in that person.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
much do
Yeah.
you want it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I
How
agree,
much do
man.
you want it?
When I left that,
And that's the key with your journey because once that was his confirmation, you need, and that is a point, even for me to a certain point. it was similar. How much? Because even though my mindset was never really okay, I want to have a business and scale it and blah blah, have employ. It wasn't necessarily that, but I just knew I didn't want this. I just that's all it is.
bro.
I just knew, but it was actually, I'll be honest with you, it was when my daughter was born. That was it.
So that was your all-in moment.
Yeah. So my daughter was born, and I was all in. So I had to make a significant shift in my life to make sure I could maintain for my family and provide in the way I wanted it. The lifestyle I wanted,
Yes.
I knew I need to change my direction. My
Okay.
drive shifted. When she
And
was born and my drive shifted. So even though I started my business in 2012, 2016, I say that period because I started in 2012 and it was like this. With
yes.
2006, it was 2016, I went all in as you
Okay.
described.
So
2016.
let me be clear. Was that because your daughter was your first child, or because she was a girl child?
First child.
Your
They
first.
they have nothing to do with gender.
Okay.
Just first
So
child.
it was at the point where you had your first child that you said, "Okay, this is it. This is it. I got it. I'm all in here." I,
Yeah, all in. All in.
well done, man. Well done.
Yeah, and that was it really. So and then obviously here we are now where it's expanded. And that's hard as well. It's really, really hard to expand in the UK. It really is hard. They really don't give you incentives or help business owners, directors of or limited companies, you know, try to expand, reinvest into the business because that's what you want to do. Even at the moment, for my last 5 years, my profit is being marginalized. I must be making like profit wise, I don't know, maybe 30 grand
Okay.
last 4 to 5 years
Okay.
because I've reinvested the
All goes
money.
back in. Okay. Yep.
All goes back in.
Yep. Yep.
All goes back in because I'm so I'm so focused on the teaching and computing side now because I now offer two provisions.
Yep.
I can come into your school and fix your IT, and also I could teach your kids.
Yes.
Yeah. So you
Yes.
come into my business, I could do both, discounted price, and you're all in,
That is
you
really,
know?
bro. That's such a
So,
business.
but again, I had to invest and try and build. And there was some times where it was really touch and go, touch and go, because,
That.
and that's the thing which I want people to understand is like, you may have a boss or it's an owner, a founder. I am telling, especially depending medium business, let's say small to medium businesses. Those medium businesses, depending on how many people you employ,
Yeah.
500 people, no, let's say 50 people to 100 people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like medium-sized businesses.
Yeah.
You'd be so surprised the margins that are close. To like, oh,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes. Yes.
oh my gosh, and so I want people to understand that when you are working for smaller companies, whatever you may stay that extra 10 minutes, you may take that call outside of work, yeah, working hours. I'm telling you, the business owner knows it and appreciates it, and will at some point reward you for your efforts.
So
They
you're
can't they can't reward you now because it's not ready to get rewarded
yeah,
yet.
yeah, correct, correct, correct.
Yeah, I can't reward you yet when I have nothing to reward you with.
So let me ask you this. This is really good, Joel. We're talking about good employees, which we need in our businesses. We're talking about the fact that being an employee is important to go through that so you can understand how to take instructions, what things look like from an employee's perspective, as opposed to just growing up and being a boss. Um, the question I was going to ask you now is, I think I was going to ask you employee. Wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. Bear with me. Because I had a question that I was thinking about. What did we do? We did important to be an employee. We did going for employment is necessary. You as an employer, me as an employer doesn't want to be the employee as such. All right. I think the question was this. Are you more inclined to hire full-time staff, or are you more inclined to hire contractors into your business?
It depends on what the business needs. So I'm not against either. I've hired both. If you want consistency, yeah, at some point you're going to have to employ someone. And okay, hear me out. if you hire a contractor, that contractor is not obliged to stick around and it can leave at any point. And to be honest, an employer could do the same thing, but there's still contractual obligations and they want the references. And and this is why you have employment, because you want that level of consistency and that person taking ownership and responsibility for their role. When you're hiring someone as a contractor, you're paying them to do a specific job and that's it. They don't care
Right.
about the overall concept of your
Okay.
business.
So let me change the question. Do you
Yeah.
think you can get a entrepreneurial contractor that takes ownership for the business without necessarily being an employee? And I ask specifically because I think it's becoming harder and harder. As you said, the government doesn't, it's not really making provisions for small businesses at the moment. It's making it harder.
Yeah.
The national employers' national insurance, PAYE,
Yeah.
all of these kind of taxes are a huge drain on businesses if you are actually taking people on as employees. So the
Yeah.
way that
I know.
we're doing
Yeah.
it, I know we'll talk about my business next week or whenever we do the next one, right? But the way that I'm doing it is that I'm hiring contractors and putting in expert people in specific places,
Yeah.
really good at what they do, but
Yeah.
expert salesperson, expert teachers, expert IT support or AI staff, expert in kind of operations. But all of them are entrepreneurial. They're all entrepreneurs. So I feel like I'm surrounded by a team. I feel like I'm building a team of entrepreneurs rather building a team of people who are just in it for a salary because, oh, I know I'm going to get paid. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Now, what the reason why you've done that is because you can't afford realistically to pay the salaries and the
Yeah, and I
taxes
don't
and the
want to.
wage,
I don't want
and
to.
you wouldn't want it.
Yeah.
And the stage of your business at the moment, this you have to go with the needs of your business. So when I first started up, I had contracts. I didn't have an employee. I had two contractors actually
Mm,
when I
mm,
started. Um, and it's the same concept. I don't want to worry about your national insurance contribution or PRE. Set it
mm.
all yourself. You pay me an invoice, I pay it back. It and it's fine when you're growing to a certain
Right.
extent, but you will know there'll be a point where you're like, I need to employ someone now.
Okay. Wicked.
There'll be a shift because you'll be like, there's only certain things you can specifically say and do to that person who's self-employed. Does
I
that make
take
sense?
I take that under
Yeah.
advisement.
So it's more or less an accountability, and it's also that ownership. When someone has a role within your organization, there is an element of ownership that person
Mm.
takes on.
Yes.
I
Yes.
am doing this because of the representation of the business.
Mm.
When you have people who are subcontractors, there's individual selfishness within their mindset. What are you doing for me?
Very true.
It really is
Can be
transactional.
true. Can be true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can.
So it's fine at the early stages of your business, 110%. I do feel, and you can ask anyone, I think when they scale, let's say this even if you're doing, but my uncle was doing like building contractors, he would have subbies, but then he'll have people who he employs to manage the subbies. He'll
Okay.
have someone in admin staff that he employs,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
someone in accounts he would employ.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it got to a
Yeah. Yeah.
stage where
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
sub these out. I need to be able to have oversight and someone reporting back to me so I know what is going on.
So
And
it's a job function then you think? Is it there are job functions which have to be done by employees as opposed to contractors or outsourced?
yeah, definitely. You'll know the difference once you start to scale up. And you know the attitude towards you once you start to scale up when you have a subby and you have someone who's employed. It's a slight because the subby knows, well, yeah, I could go anytime I want.
That's very
Nothing.
interesting. That's
No,
very
I don't. The amount of times I've had mates who's had subbies for whatever reason, and they don't even turn up. I don't even turn up for work or whatever. It's like
no, he's hired
they
wrongly
can.
then. He's hired wrong. He's hired the wrong guy.
It's not necessarily hired wrong. It's just it's the lifestyle that subby prefers. Remember that the people you're hiring as a subcontractor, they prefer that lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you think about the same lifestyle that you want, it's the same lifestyle he
Yeah, yeah,
wants
yeah, yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
she wants.
Yeah,
Does that
yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, it
If
does.
someone's
It does, it does.
if someone's employed, their mindset's different, their approach is different. Their responsibility, they're thinking about their paycheck at the end of the month. I need that money at the end of the month. I need that steady paycheck at the end of the month. I want that steady growth. I want to know what I want to know this is
Yeah.
happening. I want my annual leave. They
Yeah.
want that. People want that. They want that reassurance, you know?
That's
So you
really interesting. That's really interesting because I just think about the time when this business might need the individual who wants stability and security, as opposed to the individual who's thinking entrepreneurially, how can we grow? How can we build? How can we scale? I think you're right. I think at some point it will happen. Some point it will happen.
it will, 100%. And like I said, I love your journey. You know, and obviously we'll I'm definitely going to go speak more about your side of the business next week.
Yes.
But just for the audience to know, yeah, your background is trading,
Yeah.
so big time trader, made millions, and then
He's with
and he's like,
a
yeah,
little bit of millions.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I've done really well trading.
Yeah.
And now you're running a teaching agency, which you're basically teaching people how to trade,
Yeah.
as
So
well as trading. You're still trading yourself, still doing your
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
but
yeah.
also, and to the audience as well is, top trader and also top educator as well. Very good
Appreciate
at
it, man. I
educating.
really appreciate it. Thank
Yeah,
you very
very.
much. Yeah, that's my business. My career background was in the investment banks. So I came straight. I'll tell the whole story next week. But I came out of the university, got a really, really good job in the investment banking world. Started in technology actually, then went into front office sales and trading. Moved around the banking world for a little bit, and then left in 2015, and never went back. Really, was the story. Never. Well, I did go back for 6 months. I did go back for 6 months.
But
It
you needed that confirmation, man. That's the
Yeah,
main
yeah,
thing.
yeah. It wasn't quite never went back. It was like I went back
Yeah.
just for a little while just to see. And yeah, and now full time on the teaching and the financial education business on my own trading account and just teaching people how to do this really, really well based on my years of experience in the investment banks. I really genuinely love what I do. I love it. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I love the knowledge that or the freedom that this knowledge it gives to people, and their ability to understand the financial markets in a fresh, true, real light, how the actual mechanisms of trading works. Yeah, I love it, man. And I think I'm pretty good at it. I think I'm pretty good at
Yeah,
sharing it.
mate, I could vouch for that. You are, but also I think with it's funny because obviously just for transparency, so everyone knows, Leo teach me and coach me how to actually trade at the same time as well. But I always wanted to. I mean, I've done investments, but I've always wanted to understand the market better. And
Yeah,
I actually think I think most business owners, people who are in business or people who are an entrepreneur, have a fascination about trading.
yeah.
I'm not saying people who work don't, but I always find that there is a fascination about it because there's an element of relationships between obviously businesses and investment. So that's why there's a connection where I feel that if I understand the markets better, maybe that improves my decision makings moving forward within business as well.
It's
So that's
guaranteed
how,
to, right? Because
yeah,
the
yeah,
parallels between trading and business are very, very many. There are loads. I would say one of the chief parallels is the relationship between risk and reward. This is huge in trading, absolutely huge, the relationship between risk and reward. And as business owners, we naturally think in terms of reward versus risk or risk versus reward. We naturally think that, whether we know we're doing it or not. You just using the situation with your dear employee who had a little bit of a problem. You, naturally, you go into that situation thinking, okay, well, I need to look after my employee. I need to make sure that the downside with the client are mitigated, right? There's always a risk and a reward. There's always a kind of assessment going on in business. And I think that's why so many people love trading as well as entrepreneurs and business people. We like the idea of making money simply.
yeah,
We like the
yeah,
idea of analysis,
yeah.
creating something, making some money. We like the idea of that. And trading, once you know how to do it properly, does provide that opportunity for additional revenue once done properly. Many parallels between trading and business, loads of them, mate. We'll cover those. We'll look at those next week.
Yeah, cool. Anyway, this is our first pod, so hope you guys enjoy it. And yeah, feedback, comments, whatever you guys want to do. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
See you next week.